JOSS. Big fan of this piece. I think this was artistically extremely successful and clear in its vision and storytelling. We had a great story arc with lovely nuance. And even though it was 5 minutes, I feel like there's a lot packed in both thematically in terms of the emotional nuance of it, and there was also space, which I really appreciated. There was space to sit in the environment, to sit with these characters, to align ourselves with our lead, who was incredibly talented. And it just felt very deliberate, every shot. There was something really lovely about the shadows and the light. There's a sense of that mystery with the idea of the haunting and the spiritual aspect of it. There's something that's lurking. But then it also, there's the lovely light shining through, which still gave us that innocence, that idea of hope, that possibility, especially for this young girl. And I thought it was really sweet. What great writing, very thoughtful writing. And the performances were really brilliant, very connected to one another. And I really appreciated this piece. And it's something in terms of a cultural idea of what it means to be a girl, what are the opportunities afforded to being a girl, and are these gender constructs figments of our imagination, just like some of the spiritual aspects? And what would it look like if we opened up the ceremonial aspects? This idea of hierarchy, both in rich versus poor, and girl versus boy, in old versus young. A lot of really interesting interplay between these juxtapositions.
This was a really charming film. Right from the ground up, the way it was all written and performed and shot was all really well done. It definitely had this rich sort of cinematic quality to it. The sets were amazing. The wardrobe, all the performances were great. And then it's just this very sort of, I guess, relatable and charming kind of short narrative that really just worked well. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really well done.
This film had many themes. It had the idea of traditions, which this little girl is struggling with, about why men can do certain things that women cannot. And it's something she's struggling with within her traditions and customs. But it's also something where it shows how people sometimes dismiss with what little kids say. Where she says there's a ghost in the ancestor figurine. And they just dismiss her. They don't care. In The Guardian, and they laugh because it's a fantasy of a kid. But then when she meets what looks like a homeless guy, and he disappears at the end after he gives her food, it makes you wonder if he is the manifestation, and she was actually talking to the ancestor. He's the manifestation because he wasn't really there. He just kind of blips away, and she's standing there alone. Which means traditions can change if she wants them to, but it would be a hard fight. So several different themes, but it's all within the confusion in the minds of a little girl. It makes it a very complex film and very interesting to watch because it shows not only what kids go through, but the questions of society and customs and cultural norms, and if it's okay to start questioning them to change them. And it's maybe she could be the change, maybe she won't, but it's one of those questions with a very nuanced film and very well made.
This film is called JOSS. This was a quiet, fascinating short. What set it apart for me was the strong, guarded performance of the little girl. Such an intelligent, inquisitive child. The pace and direction of this one was fabulous. I also enjoyed the cinematography that carefully took in ceremony with care and reverence. It was a study of traditional gender roles. The light orchestral music served the contemplative nature of the piece. I enjoyed the interaction between the girl and the stranger that she meets, very informative to the viewer and to the girl. Excellent, well done, memorable short. JOSS. Check it out.